nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a music podcast where a group of friends gather together to share music with each other, an album at a time. It's like a little book club for music. Fun time had by all. I'm Petey Rave, and here with me is my team, my squad, my crew. We've got coming in remotely from the Deej-mobile, David.
Hey everybody, I'm in my car, but I'm not driving. Stay safe.
Exactly. We've got Drew.
Yellow.
And of course, in the fourth chair with us as our guest, we've got Mike, aka Serial Sensei.
The multiverse has been multiversing, and I hope you all get to see it.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We're here to talk about music. We're excited. We had our MCU talk earlier before the show, so we got that out of our system. We're here to talk about music. We're here talking about an album, and we're going to be talking about an album provided by Mike. Mike, what have you got for us?
Today, we're going to take a trip across the pond to the UK to an artist, rapper, songwriter who I remember when I became familiar with her. A friend, I'll say, told me about her a long time ago, and she was one of those artists that I just kept hearing the name, and I never used to click on it. I was like, you know what, let me just listen one day. And I liked it. So we are going to listen to Gray Area by Little Simz, a rapper, artist from the UK.
Mm-hmm. Drew, I'll start with you. What were your expectations coming into this album?
It's a name I've heard before, but I don't generally go to London when I'm looking for hip hop and rap. Just because when I listen to it, I'm looking for the perspective, the stories, stuff like that. So it's usually something where I'm like, I'm not gonna get it. So I'm probably not gonna enjoy myself. There's thoughts on that on this one. But
yes,
it's something that I was excited to hear a different area of the world's view on things. Not knowing what her voice would be about. I guess I could say.
David, what were your expectations coming into this?
Petey, not unlike you in East Asia, my musical proclivities often make their way towards the United Kingdom in pretty much every genre. I really like British hip hop a lot and all of its kind of periphery styles and influences. I love trip hop. I love drum and bass. I love house music. I love grime. So this really was kind of in my wheelhouse when it came to hip hop in particular. I don't know what it is, but I just have an attraction to British hip hop more than a lot of American hip hop. I don't know, maybe just because it's different and it's foreign from what I'm used to. Yes. But I was really interested in this. And when Mike brought it up and I looked up that she was from London, that immediately piqued my interest that much more. I was expecting a hip hop album that does not sound like a hip hop album produced by somebody from the United States. There are stylistic differences that if you hear them, you know them, but they can be a little hard to describe if you get into the nuances. But they are interspersed all over this album. You can definitely tell that she is a London artist. And I really, really dug it. I dug it more than most hip hop albums I've listened to recently.
Yeah. I was excited because English hip hop, British hip hop in general, is something that I always enjoy when I experience it. But I never get I don't remember often enough to go seek it out. Artist names are usually things that I find out by way of variety shows or like British UK quiz show questions and answers. Like those are usually find out, but I've enjoyed quite a few different artists from the UK, and a couple of artists that are heavily influenced by UK artists and are very big, like, Tiaboos, as it were, in their own right. So I was excited to get any of that style of hip hop.
Did you just say Tiaboos?
Yes, that's a thing. That's a thing that's been said. Mm-hmm.
It's called Anglophile.
Yeah. The youths. But it is. I was looking forward to what kind of a sound it was going to be. And I actually, honestly, I didn't even have an assumption on the because I don't remember what if Mike had specified, but I didn't even have an assumption of the gender of the artist. So it's like I even had more excitement when I found out that it was a young female rapper from the UK. So I was looking forward to this sound. But let's get into the sound and styles. Let's get into the meat of the album. Mike, how would you describe this album musically?
So to quick backtrack, her album before this was called Stillness in Wonderland. It came out in 2016. And that was like my first introduction to her. And it was a good album. I liked it enough to just say, whatever she does next, I'll listen to it and see what she's doing. And then I put this on, and I immediately noticed, like, no, this sounds so much different. And it's not that the other album was bad, but the live instrumentation in this stuck out a lot. And I have to give a shout out. Her producer, who apparently is I didn't even know this until like today. Her producer, who apparently is like her childhood friend, his name is Inflo. I'm probably going to butcher this. Inflo Sigurd Astronaut. But brought in all of the live instrumentation. So you got drums and horns going off, strings, you got some pianos. It's a lot of different sounds squeezed into just 10 tracks. And it fits so many different moods. It's like loud, it can be abrasive, then it be kind of calm. She has some like pop kind of records on here. It's like all over the place, but it's all over the place, but it still like holds together somehow. But musically, just musicianship, live instrumentation, it's great. I think it's great. I loved it from start to pretty much finish.
Mm-hmm. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, first, the thing that hit me a lot, like I said, with rap and hip hop, there is a storytelling element that I always come to it for. Hearing perspectives and unique voices and stuff like that. I think it's why I always tend, when like I listen to something a lot, it's something like KRS-One or Mos Def or something like that. This has some of that to it, which at once is great and also a little sad in ways. I guess it comes from the grass is always greener. You hope other places don't have some of the same troubles we do. And then Wounds is a track that happens later. And you realize, oh, wait. And then, like, there's tracks about, like, being young, black, and female and not being taken seriously. And it's like, oh, everywhere just people kind of suck, huh? Like, that's just a thing that everybody gets to deal with. Which it's good to hear the perspective, and I enjoy hearing it. On top of that, the musicality in here is really great. Mike said it well. You have zithers in here. You have like muted horns. You have like a lot of live drums. If like one, I just mentioned like other people. If I'm also thinking of something like Diggable Planets and Mos Def when I'm listening to your album, you're probably not doing things completely wrong, in my opinion. It's something that, like, there's so much variation, but the instrumentation is so good, and it has such a fun groove to it that, like, if you don't like one track for something, wait until the next track, because it's probably going to be something completely different. There's a set of tracks, like, right at the beginning that, like, from, I would say, track 4, 5, and 6 couldn't be 3 more different songs, and they're on the same record, and it doesn't not make sense, which is incredible to me. Like, her producer, like, her and her producer, like, this is a tight 35 minutes of music, and it's varied and fun. So,
David, how would you describe this album musically?
I think that in comparison to American hip hop, there's a very stark difference. With a lot of hip hop artists from the States, when you see them doing a live performance, and on those rare occasions they're playing with a live band, it's almost gimmicky. But here on this album, it is not gimmicky at all. It is very much a part of the experience. And I think that was a really cool decision on the part of everyone who was involved in this album, because it makes it stand out. I think that she is really, really talented and really, really creative as an MC, and that is something to behold. She really gets going on a lot of these tracks, and it's really, really cool to listen to. Also, this is a very introverted hip hop album. The stories she tells aren't. There are some kind of standard hip hop braggadocious songs, but a lot of them are very insular and very internal, where she's kind of doing a lot of inner monologuing with a lot of these. And I think that's a really fascinating watch, especially from a perspective that is not my own. So there's a lot of really good stuff to really sink your teeth into on this.
Yeah, singing into this album is you get a really solid, really complete album of fantastic hip hop, with all like the touchstones that you expect from UK hip hop, in like a little bit here and there, but it's more introspective in places. There's like David said, there are some boasting, some chest beating, but a lot of it is more emotional and more introspective, in not too dissimilar to and this is kind of why it hooked me and I enjoyed it. It's not too dissimilar to something like Samus, who I've had before, and her album, that I still love. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, Pieces in Space, where there's those moments of introspective vulnerability, and we'll get into the tracks. There's also on this album has this track that's almost literally the opposite of 1080p in a way. We'll get into when we talk about the tracks, but it's still valid and it's still cool. But yeah, it's the lyricality is on point throughout the whole album. The instrumentation is fantastic. Inflow it does a great work here as a producer, and you have like the features are fantastic and fit right in really well. You have an album and fucking Thundercat shows up. You know you're doing good things. Like like Thundercat shows up for your album, you're probably doing good things. And it is no different here. And yeah, the beats are just built really well and have really great instrumentation, really great style to it. There are moments, I'll talk about it in the tracks, but there are moments, I think, getting a lot of the different styles. There's even moments that remind me of Doom, of MF Doom, as far as like MF Doom beats. Not necessarily the lyricism. That's a whole. He's a whole other. He was big ups. He was a whole different type of weirdo, but but specifically his beats, I think they're touchstones, which makes sense because he was very much influenced by UK hip hop, and you know it builds something really fantastic here. Yeah, let's talk about key tracks. Mike, what will be some of the key tracks that you would zero in on?
So I have 5 tracks listed, but I'm gonna group the first 2 together, Boss and Offense, because I kind of like them both for pretty much the same reasons. They're both just really just raw, just in your face. I like when albums just kind of start off like that, like, you know, I'm letting you know, like, off top what we're about to get into, even though it kind of goes off to something completely different after that. But like those 2 like immediately held my attention the first time I heard them. They're just really just dirty, just in your face. It's kind of probably the most, maybe aside from like Venom, where she just sounds like super just confident, braggadocious. Like I just imagine somebody in the booth, chest puffed out, like like they're really sure of themselves when they recorded that. So both of those I really really loved to open up. Selfish, which what I put in my notes for this song, and I felt this the first time I listened to it. By all accounts, I should hate this song because I don't really like pop music that much, and this gave me like a pop feel. But Jesus Christ, this hook is so catchy. It's so catchy. And a side note about this song, the person who sung the hook, her name is Cleo Soul. I don't know what's in the water overseas with R&B, but like they can sing. This song doesn't show it that much because she just kind of did like a kind of simple like pop kind of hook. Listen to Cleo Soul, please do. But Selfish,
Co-sign.
really.
Yeah. He's a cosign from DJM.
Yeah. She is amazing. She is really good. But yes, Selfish is just a really nice, fun, top down, 70 degrees kind of song to listen to. A song that I forgot that I liked so much when I went back and listened to this was Therapy. And when I like Little Simz when she's really loud and abrasive, but she's probably her best when she is kind of in that reflective, when you mentioned earlier, like she's having like these inner monologues. And Therapy was a song just because of the content where she's going over like her relationships and kind of like the inner turmoil and things that brought her. And my favorite line, not even just on the song, but probably this whole album, is she says, "Sometimes we do not see the fuckery until we're out of it. Some people read The Alchemist and still never amount to shit." And something about that line just like that hit really hard the first time I heard it, and that line like stays with me. And the last song I'll mention, I'm a sucker. I love songs that close strong, and I like starting songs and ending songs. I need those in my albums to like close it out right. And Flowers with Michael Kiwanuka is that is a beautiful, just man. Like you can't close an album out much better than that. Like the production on it is just gorgeous. It's a perfect album closing. Michael Kiwanuka is also pretty another talented guy. Her features that she got on here, not a lot of them, but like all of them, most of them I think I've listened to a couple of times, and they're all like really, really talented artists. So like there was no way this album could fail because she picked all of the right people to work with.
Yeah. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, starting out real strong with Offense, for me. The sort of braggadocio, the bravado, the honesty, that sort of attitude of like not backing down. Like, again, getting back into the voices, the perspectives, and getting a woman that's like strong and in your face, like, nah, like, I've got this, like, look at me, I'm awesome, and I've got shit to say. You're gonna listen to me say my shit, like, don't back it, like, I'm not gonna back down from this. And I think that's really it's a good song, and it'd be a great song to like jump out on stage and just start with and like get people hyped up. Like I said, there is a block of songs that's really crazy from top to bottom, 4, 5, and 6. But it starts with Wounds. It is painful and it's honest and it's hard on the sleeve sort of stuff. Plus, of course, I'm gonna pick out the song with the feature from a dude from Jamaica. Because I'm nothing if not predictable. Oh, Sky Guy likes Jamaican sounding, Jamaican flavored music. Weird. Venom. The Venom I've been hearing a lot lately because I'm with the hip kids on the TikToks. And that song gets used a lot. Yeah. And it gets used well, to be fair. I like the trend is pretty much like, hey, check me out, like I'm gonna go after it, sort of thing. It's a lot of, again, strong women like this is, which is cool. But then 101 FM, the drum pad mixed with like that Asian flair with the zithers and stuff, it's a really cool song from a production standpoint. Like the rap there is good, but the production is great on that one. And then Flowers, Mike said it leaves beautifully. It was in like a lion, out like a lamb on this one. And muted trumpets are magic. Like, they're always magic. They are always going to like make anything sound just that like little bit forlorn and beautiful and like almost nostalgic in a way, even though there's like no nostalgia in an album that came out in 2019. But
David, what would be your key tracks?
Selfish. I do like a good hook and a good chorus, and that song delivers it in spades. Venom is at least 3 fire emojis if you're scoring at home. 101 FM, it does that thing that a lot of radio stations do, where they interject right in the middle of a song that's playing, and it's kind of funny, but also kind of annoying. And Therapy, like Mike said, that one really, really kind of hit on a personal level. So
Yeah.
Therapy as well.
Yeah, it starts out really strong with Offense. It just the attitude that she brings in is so fantastic. Just the line, the lion roar, the line. I said it with my chest, and I don't care who I offend. It's just like, yeah, like as soon as she says that, I'm like, yeah, let me put my foot down and go 80 now in this car. I'll down to Palmetto. And then I realize I'm in traffic and I can't go more than 20. But that's Miami for you. But it is just a fantastic hype track, and it's just it gets you right off the bat with her, like her personality or her attitude, and it engages you right off the bat, and it follows up fantastically with Boss. I think those two, like Mike said, they complement each other really well. Go to Venom. Venom is just so engaging in like how it's constructed and production wise. You can hear it in the Thundercat touch is fantastic. And I was like, going back to Offense, that's the track right there for something about the beat on Offense. Here, double back. That's one of those that I was talking about, reminded me of a Doom beat. like a little bit of like the cartoon thing, but something about like the strings in there, it reminded me of something like Doom would put together. But yeah, jumping back to Venom. It's just tight, and it's just the personality of that is fantastic. Therapy is just, it is an emotional track. And like I said, it's almost like the inverse of Samus's 1080p, like where 1080p is a celebration of finding a therapist and finding clarity through being able to go taking yourself to therapy and be able to do that. And this is about not being able to do that, like maybe not finding that therapist is right for you, or that therapy is right for you, because that's valid. Like for some people that might not be, they need something else that they need to do, or a different therapist. But it is a raw emotional track, and I think it works well in there. And like I said, Flowers just is a nice, fantastic rejoinder, especially just like having that, and then that ends and it loops back right back to the beginning, like I have it with my Spotify, where I just have it loop the album. Is a nice little like like a little like whiplash effect. Yeah, let's bring it back around the horn, talk about some conclusive thoughts. Drew, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole? You're muted.
I'm literally in my car.
This is me maybe realizing that writing off hip hop from London is maybe not my smartest like decision that I've ever made. Because this album was phenomenal. Like, it's one of those things where it's it's easy to listen to, as far as like musicality and stuff goes, and then you start digging and there's a lot of depth to it. So it's something that's an easy thing to put on for anybody. I mean, I think me and Amber were listening to it here, like while we're like picking stuff up and cleaning and like making food and stuff, and it was just something that like sometimes on some of the albums that we've listened to, albums we've called homework at times, I'm not gonna do that. This was an album where there's a lot of depth to it, but it doesn't become something where it's only going to be for the people who want to dive into the depth. It works on both levels, and I think that's great. I think she is a voice in hip hop and in rap that's gonna be around for as long as she wants to be, and is going to be notable as long as she wants to be. I was looking, and her album after this is twice the length.
Mm-hmm.
As far as both
good
number of tracks and also time. So it's something that's like, okay, if this was the album where she's like, I'm gonna try a bunch of stuff out and see what works, I'm excited to see, with that knowledge, what an hour and 5 minutes of her like whole thought process comes to. Because this one was great. Like, I loved every second of this one.
Mm-hmm. David, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I'm not gonna blather on too much about it. I think it's brilliant. I hear some Yasin Bey influence. I definitely hear a lot of the things that I've heard from other British hip hop artists in the musical styling, but she is very uniquely her own person, and this was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just a tight, fantastic album. It is right in my. This is very much right in my wheelhouse of hip hop. I love hip hop that has that introspective feeling, that has those honest, like straightforward, like honest lyrics, but that has great wordplay and flow, that has personality and attitude. Like this is she is her own artist, but like I love this for a lot of the same reasons that like I said I love Samus or Auntie Shubzilla or a bunch of I could list off a billion artists, and the it is this is a fantastic example of like of a really well presented cross section of somebody's being as an artist. It hits a lot of the points that I think are going to be why you're going to love somebody like Little Simz. The flow is fantastic. The production is fantastic. Like a lot of the just the how the just the bass and everything. Like even the non Thundercat tracks, the bass is just fantastic, and lull and like instrument like the like strings here and there, the zithers, there's just really dope, and it's just a track. It's just an album that is easy to kind of let just kind of go back and forth and repeat and just repeat and repeat, and you won't tire of it. At least I didn't tire of it. And this is going to be one that this, and I'm going to definitely check out her follow-up album, are going to be ones that I'm going to have there, and possibly going to be a permanent fixture of like whenever I want to pop in a fucking dope album, I'll put that one on. Mike, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
Yeah, I think the word phenomenal was thrown around earlier, and that's what I got after listening to this. She shot up really quick of like, oh, you're like one of my favorite people now, and anything you put out, I'm going to listen to. I'm still amazed that this was only 35 minutes, and she packed in so much in just 35 minutes, and somehow it all fit together in this perfect, just. Nothing was wasted. This to me is like almost, for my personal taste, this is almost perfect. Almost perfect.
Yeah, it didn't feel lacking, and it also didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome. Like
it got in,
all
got
killer, no filler.
Indeed. I will say quick note, because I have listened to her other albums. Sometimes I might be introvert. I like Gray Area a little better, only because I like that abrasive Little Simz. And you don't get that as much on the other album, but the production on that other album, oh my god, it's like musical theater. It is that production, man. Her and her producer don't ever break up. Y'all have something special, and it needs to not ever break up, because production wise, they hit a whole nother stratosphere on that other album. But nah, man, Little Simz, man, she is not just a great UK artist. She is a great artist just in general, man. I'd put her up against any favorite from the US, and I think she's probably better or on par with any of them. This album's amazing. It's really, really, really good.
Those are our thoughts on Little Simz, Gray Area. Go check it out on our Spotify playlist, Play Record Breakers, Home Game, Do Your Due Diligence. Now we get to the main event of the evening, the moment we've all been waiting for, where we get to our haiku reviews, where we sum it all up in the 575 format, poetic format. Get the poetry on, your own poetry on. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Haiku numero now. Drew, what is your haiku?
London perspective that hits kind of close to home. A voice deserving.
David, what is your haiku?
A real queen MC. She can flow. She's very real. Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. My haiku: feels an attitude, a boss in a fucking dress. Little Simz brings it. And last but not least, Mike, what is your haiku?
Live drums, bass and strings, abrasive and reflective. Masterful Little Simz.
Mm-hmm. And those are our thoughts on Little Simz, Gray Area. You can, of course, find it on our Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers, the home game. Do your due diligence in your due diligence. Before I get into next week's record, Mike, thank you for being with us for this cycle. What do you got to tell the people? What do you want to plug? Let people know about?
You can, if you want to, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Serial Sensei. I am on a bit of a hiatus, but I will be back because my birthday is this month on the 27th. Mm-hmm. So I'll at least do a stream for that. But I'm probably going to do a pop-up stream before then. Mm-hmm. So you want to check that out. Look at that. I have a YouTube channel, Serial Sensei 410. I just uploaded gameplay for an indie game called Track to Yomi that just came out. That's been pretty fun. There we go. We got a book right there. Yes. Written by yours truly, the Allbar Chronicles Volume 1 and 2, both on Amazon. Physicals you can buy on Amazon. If you don't want to support Amazon, you can get digital copies elsewhere on a lot of different sites, Barnes and Nobles. I'm on like 1,000. I'm on sites I don't even know of. Somebody's probably bootlegging my books, but I don't care. Digital copies are everywhere. Just type in Serial Sensei, and you will find me. Mm-hmm. I'm out there somewhere.
Yeah, you are extremely online. All right. But that being said, so as far as next week's record, I'll let y'all know once we have guests lined up. But I can tell you, the album for next week is we're gonna meet an 18-year-old Japanese singer-songwriter who lists her two primary favorite artists as Nirvana and Rihanna. We're going to be listening to the newly released album from the artist Dowell, and her album A Wolf, all in capitals with points, WOLF. It's going to be interesting to listen to that. But yeah, that'll be next week, and this is this week. And you can, of course, find us all over the internet. David is at Call Me DJM. Drew is at X. Mike is at Serial Sensei. I'm at PD Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com. Rebelli.net for this and other shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube and on Twitch. Catch us live on Twitch where we do this podcast, where we do our D&D show through the tomes. The other streams like the Witcher streams with me and Daisy. Gotta get back on the Mass Effect stream and other things like Tunic and other fun stuff. Sometimes Hades. But yeah, check
Hades.
us. Yeah. Sometimes I feel froggy and I want to do some Hades runs, or a Hades run. So that's how it is. But yeah, check it out all Rebelli TV. Check me out, hanging out there, and the crew. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Toodaloo.
Peace.
Bye-bye. Annyeong. Fighting.
Hashtag find Luke.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.